a great day, a great week, and all set for a beautiful weekend. I am coming to you live right now from Ubud, Bali. It's my first time here. One of those places I've always wanted to get to, and I'm here now. My friend Jeff moved here about 6 weeks ago. Said, "Come on," so here I am, and I've been here now for just over 2 days. I've already eaten a lot of durian. It's been really good, and I've been to a couple of the raw vegan restaurants here. There's a very famous place here just up the road where the food has been very good. And tonight, we went to a place called Moksha, which has been around for about 7 years. Um, Turns out it's about 50, maybe 60% raw. It's vegan and about 50, 60% raw. And the food there was unbelievably good. I mean, like scary good. It was so good. We ordered between four of us. We ordered two orders of raw vegan sushi as an appetizer, as one of a couple of appetizers that we shared, and then we wound up getting more because it was so good, and definitely ate more than would have been ideal to eat. And so, and this is the kind of thing I think. I mean, people ask me about. People are sometimes surprised that I am sometimes intemperate, i.e., eating more than I should, which happens with durian as well, or even eating some of the things I'm eating. Including like a uh, chocolate mousse. There was a little tiny piece of chocolate mousse cake or pie, whatever it was. Um, but honestly, I have no problem making compromises every once in a while, as long as it's raw vegan. And I prefer it to be organic, but for me, the key is raw vegan. If it's cooked, don't want to go there. If there's animal products involved, not interested in eating it. I won't do that. Those are lines I don't want to cross. But if they're raw vegan, then I mean, I might feel it the next day, but I recover from it pretty quickly. And so, and the food is so good. I mean, most of you are aware that I'm working on a project called Las Cascadas, where we will eventually have a raw vegan eco village. And there'll be shops and eateries, etc. And so, I mean, I'm realizing things that are possible that I didn't even know were possible before. Things that were just so delicious, I didn't even know you could do. And this is the kind of stuff that any tourist would be happy to eat. This, people that aren't raw or aren't vegan, and they might not even know what they're eating, but it just tastes so good, they'd be very happy, I think, to have these meals. So it's been really a joy to share these foods and to share them with amazing people. Hanging out with great folks here. So it's been fun. It's interesting to see, for sure. I've been asked quite a bit, and again, I've only been here 2 days, so it's kind of early. But people have said, "What do you think? Like, would you live in this place?" And for me, it's not impossible, but it's very urban. So we're going everywhere on scooters because that's what you need to do. And um, it's kind of polluted. People here in Asia. I mean, there's just trash everywhere. Um, there's lots of exhaust in the air and etc. It's very, very different than where I'm used to, where I'm living now. What I'm used to living in Costa Rica is clean and almost pristine. There's a different consciousness. I mean, the people here are amazingly friendly and welcoming. Really, really beautiful people. And Costa Ricans are beautiful people too, but it's a different kind of an energy here, and it's really that's really special. I mean, that's really nice. Um, they're just so glad to have us here. Really, really seem to be welcoming. Whereas in a lot of places cater to tourists, people are friendly to tourists because it pays to be friendly to tourists. It feels like they're doing it because that's they want business. Here, it really feels like people are just glad that you're here, and they're just super super friendly and welcoming, and it's really a beautiful beautiful energy. Um, yeah, someone says I find Bali much more friendly than Costa Rica. Maybe. I mean, again, Costa Ricans are very friendly, but there's this energy that it's say. Um, and there's no they don't have to be compared. I mean, I guess we can compare any two things. Both beautiful places. Personally, I much prefer living in the pristine environment where we are, and would have trouble, I think, being in such an urban environment. Uh, and I think it's why so many people I know who have been here for a while have wanted to get out of here. After a while, it feels like a lot. It feels like maybe too much. Um, hey, Ian. Yeah, thank you. Southeast Asia. You're up in Thailand, aren't you? Actually, I'll be there next week. I'll be in Koh Samui starting next Friday for 8 days, but only there. I think you're probably a long way from there. So it's been good so far. What can I say? Went to a beautiful waterfall today um, in the middle of the island and enjoyed that. Enjoyed swimming. It wasn't particularly warm. It would have been nicer if it was. The water wasn't so cold, but it was fine. And it was quite muddy. But I think that's just what happens when it rains. Sometimes I understand it's very very clear when it's not raining. Um, Martha's here. Those love songs. Thank you so much, Martha, for your kind contribution. Generous. I appreciate that very much. She says, I always enjoy watching your videos, Loren. Thank you for the inspiration and the information. You are so, so welcome. So welcome. I'm so glad to be able to share whatever I can. Um, and so, certainly for anybody who is a fruit lover or lives on a fruit-based diet, it definitely makes sense to come to Southeast Asia. For me, definitely during durian season. It's actually early here. It's not really durian season yet, but there are fruits coming in mostly from the north of the island, and so we've had no trouble so far finding some pretty outstanding fruits. Now, the people that I'm with who've been here now for 6 weeks are already getting a little jaded, and saying, "Well, I mean that's okay, but it's not amazing." Um, some of the best durian I've had so far, because in Costa Rica, we don't grow so much of it yet. It's native only to Southeast Asia, and so, for instance, we've planted quite a bit of durian at Tanglewood. Haven't had so much success yet because the trees are rather finicky, and it's probably not quite hot or humid enough where we are. Um, I think the trees would be happier if it were hotter and more humid. But it's so at this point, there's just not that much fruit being harvested yet in Costa Rica, which means getting fresh fruit is a little harder, and the fruits are still relatively small. I guess they get bigger with here where there are trees that are decades old. I'm sure some of the fruits have been really, really amazing, super creamy and super tasty. Um, Again, that's from novice anyway. I don't claim to be an expert. It's funny. I'm with a couple of the people that I've been hanging out with here. Jeff's roommates are in their 20s, and so I've been eating durian longer than they've been alive. It's been more than 30 years since I had my first durian. But in the U.S., it was mostly frozen monthong from Thailand, which and a lot of people dismiss monthong durian, um, and maybe rightly say, well, there are much better varieties. I can't argue with that because again, I'm not an expert in fresh durian, but um, there are some outstandingly good frozen monthong durians which get shipped around the world from Thailand. And I mean, I've eaten a lot of frozen Thai durian over the years. Eating it. I mean, when I was in the U.S., which hasn't been 17 years now. I've been out of the U.S. more than 17 years, but for the first 13 years that I was eating it was in the U.S. I ate durian at least once a month or so on average. Um, so I mean that's years. You know, there's quite a bit of it, and some of it was really really incredibly delicious. Um, some of the ones we've had here aren't as good as some of the frozen ones I've had in my life. Some of I mean, when a good fresh durian is incredible. There's no comparison, but they're not always the best. And so sometimes, sometimes the frozen ones can be really, really outstanding too. I guess that's really the point here. Okay, let's see. Plant contains defense chemicals. Defense chemical is harm for us. Yes, absolutely. Maybe you can talk a bit about stiff muscles on a raw vegan diet, also stiff neck. I'm wondering if it's stiff muscles and a stiff neck eating anything. It's not, what happens though is it becomes less likely as the body becomes cleaner and more hydrated, which unfortunately we measure raw vegans all the time who are severely dehydrated, cleans all the out of the body. Getting truly hydrated is really difficult to do. Okay. So once someone's really hydrated, you're far less likely to suffer from stiff. Plays a significant role in that stiffness, in the tissue becoming stiff. Partly that's because of dehydration. And so once we get hydrated, it's far less likely to occur. If you're ready to be done with that, I can guide you through a fast and you won't believe how things shift for you. It's amazing what happens. Okay. Enzyme 333 says, I'm hosting a durian retreat in Bali this February, serving my own raw food menu. Okay. Fantastic. Is it safe to assume that's an invitation and that you're inviting me to come as your guest? Because if that's the case, I might take you up on that. Depending on the timing, of course. We're open in, let's see, we have our raw food festival, which is an amazing event. Still the highest quality collection of fruit I've ever seen in one place every year. And it runs from the 17th to the 24th of February this year. And then right after that, on the 25th of February, we open for fasting. So if your event is at a different time, love to be there. Sounds like an amazing event. About to smash things into a durian here in Canada. Okay, well, I'm not sure what that would look like. About to smash. I'm about to smash into a durian. Okay, got it. Never mind. Okay. I'm guessing in Canada well, actually, there are some fresh ones in Vancouver, but my experience has been that they haven't been all that good because they probably were cut and were shipped green and they weren't, they don't really ripen that way properly. So sometimes the frozen ones are actually better. Okay. I'm having a lot of teeth issues on a fruit diet, enamel erosion, brown marks, sensitivity. What do you recommend for solving this? Do you have new info about this issue? I don't have new info. I have the same issue I've had, which works. I mean, first of all, fasting will allow your teeth to heal dramatically, including eliminating stains often and discoloration. Enamel, something the body does all the time. So people who lose, who wind up having teeth problems eating a fruit-based diet usually are suffering from the same problems, the same mistakes. One is they are usually grazing all day. So instead of eating 1 or 2 meals per day, which is what I do and recommend doing, they are eating a little bit, they'll have something in the morning, they'll have something now, and they'll have something in an hour, then they'll eat again something in an hour or two. And throughout the day, they're grazing. And the problem is that the acid in fruit takes a microscopically thin layer of enamel off of your teeth, which is great because that's where the plaque lives. The problem is it takes several hours to rebuild that. So if you're grazing all the time, you're creating a problem on an ongoing basis. Okay. So instead of grazing all the time, you want to instead have a meal and then wait at least 3 or 4 hours before you eat again. Okay, at least 3 or 4 hours before eating again, and that will cease to create that issue. Now, one of the other things that often happens is people are eating acid fruits, which were picked way too soon. Okay, so acid fruits and even subacid fruits, but primarily acid fruits picked too soon are going to be way too high in acid. And that can be problematic for your teeth as well. Okay, if the fruits are picked at the right time, this isn't an issue. It's when they're picked prematurely and therefore never ripened properly that the acid level stays too high. And so it's really important to not do that, to avoid that. Okay. And the third mistake that people make all the time, which causes issues for them, for their teeth, is they brush their teeth after eating fruit. So again, the acid in fruit softens your enamel, takes off this microscopically thin layer by softening your enamel. If you then brush your teeth right away, you're brushing away some of the enamel. So I'm 31 years living on fruit, and my teeth are actually much healthier now than they were when I started my journey 31 years ago, because I quickly realized that I don't want to graze all day. I want to be super careful about acid fruits if they're picked too soon, especially, and I don't brush my teeth after I eat. Okay, I brush my teeth before I eat if I feel like I need to brush my teeth at all. My mouth doesn't taste bad. But if it does, then I'll brush my teeth before I eat, never afterward. Okay, and I have no problems, and I have thousands of clients who have no problems with their teeth whatsoever. Okay, and so I'm confident that you're probably making some of these common mistakes. And as I said before, even if that's what you're doing, if you've been making some of these common mistakes, and you're willing and able to fast long enough and properly, you can heal. You can heal from this. Okay, lots of Asian markets in Calgary. Oh, that's cool. I don't know Calgary. I know British Columbia, and I know Ontario, and that's really all. So makes sense that there's probably lots of Asian markets in Calgary as well. Do you have any experience of client regenerating enamel, teeth, water fasting? Yep, just talked about that. The answer is yes. Absolutely. Okay, has anyone coming from a SAD diet ever successfully completed the 40-day fast? Hundreds of people. What do you mean? Lots of people coming off a SAD diet. I mean, I have fasted more than 700 people for 42 days or more. I mean, I fasted more than 10,000 people, but more than 700 of them fasted for 42 days or more. And many of those people were eating a conventional diet, and is being guided through the process and doing it properly. There's no issues whatsoever. I'm not doing any of the 3 mistakes, and I'm having teeth pain daily shirts because I didn't do any transition, so I had too intense a detox. I don't know what to say about that. I don't think this has anything to do with detox. Okay, I don't think that's what's going on. Fasting will allow your body to strengthen your teeth, rebalance your teeth, recreate some of the enamel, probably fix many of these issues, and then done properly, there shouldn't be any issues afterward. I'm about to go for a 5-day water-only fast next to a river in Israel with a natural water spring. Can you recommend something to a beginner? I know you really suggest to do it with guidance. Yeah, I mean, that's the best advice I could give anyone, is to only fast with experienced guidance, because really knowing what you're doing makes all the difference in the world. In the meantime, my advice to you would be to rest as completely as possible. Don't do anything you don't need to do. The entire point is to rest as completely as you can. Next, make sure that you are sipping water. Sip. I will demonstrate for you. I meant to get most of it in my mouth, but it is just a little tiny bit of water at a time. Okay, that's the objective. no more than 500 milliliters per hour, slowly over the course of the hour. Okay, that's critically important. All right. I'm on my 12th day of a water fast. Any recommendations? Yeah, don't do that without having experienced guidance. Those are my recommendations. This isn't really something most people do very well on their own. I wouldn't recommend it. My advice for anyone 12 days in without guidance would be to stop. Using rainwater. So drinking rainwater is not safe unless the water has been actually purified. Rain. You could live that have traveled thousands of miles around the atmosphere. You might be drinking water that's fallen through the smog from LA or Denver or Mumbai or some other place that no one should be drinking water through that, all that garbage. No, it's not to use rainwater unless you've purified it. How about using alkaline water? Nope. Alkaline water is nonsense. No one should be drinking alkalized water. Okay. Water in nature is typically going to run between pH 6 and 8, and it's perfectly fine. Drinking water that's 10 or 11 because you've added minerals to make it that high a pH, there's no benefit to you whatsoever. It doesn't make you more alkaline. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Any more than eating an orange, which has a low pH, i.e. it's acidic, doesn't make you more acidic. Okay, drinking alkaline water doesn't make you more alkaline. And because there's added minerals to it, your body looks at that and says, no, what is this? This isn't real. This isn't right. Okay, that's not what you want to be drinking. Okay, I hope that helps. Shady Mia says, hi, the long time space between fasts you recommend is only for long fasts or also for, say, 5-day fasts? No, it's for fasts of 21 days or more. I recommend people wait 6 months. But to be honest with you, fasting for 5 days means that you're consuming a lot of muscle, getting relatively little benefit. I mean, if it's the first time you're doing it or you've been eating poorly, you might see a lot of benefit from a 5-day fast. But there is no significant benefit to doing a series of 5-day fasts. You just lose muscle without getting any real benefit. So my recommendation would be after this to fast with guidance for at least 21 days. That's life-changing. And when you're done, your body's so much more efficient, you'll have no trouble building muscle. When you do a series of 5-day fast, you're losing muscle. Okay, that's what happens. You're losing muscle and you're getting very little. What brand of bottled water do you drink? Well, at home, we have our own spring water that bubbles up out of the ground. Here, I'm drinking Bali water, which it's a glass bottle. I like that. And I buy it right at the street at Raw Alchemy, which is, probably 200 meters from here. So in fact, I got back here from dinner with my friends at another place and realized I had no water left, no drinking water. And so I hustled up there and got there just as they were closing to buy this bottle of water, which, will keep me until tomorrow at some point. Okay, let me come back over here to YouTube. I've been focusing on Instagram questions. Click the like. Yes, please. Thank you. Boris says, hi, Loren. Do you think our soul goes somewhere after we leave this material world? Well, that's a really deep question. And I mean, I'm happy to share my beliefs about this, but I, of course, don't really know what happens. I think what happens is that we incarnate in physical form many, many times to learn everything there is to learn about being in the physical body. We're not physical beings. We are souls having a physical experience. But most people are going to live hundreds of lifetimes in a body. And so at some point, what happens is we wind up coming back and reincarnating the physical form once again. That's what I believe is going on. I may be wrong, but I think that's what it is. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Mia. Good to see you. Amir says, good morning, Loren. What harmful deficiencies or imbalances are created in the body by chronic low blood volume as a result of not sipping enough water while fasting? Can it create potassium deficiency what else and why. Yes, it can create any electrolyte, and that's just what happens. I mean, this is just the way it is when the body is get into all of the details. But when we are talking about drinking water, we have to get are likely to create electrolyte imbalances or deficiencies. If we're drinking too fast, the exact same thing happens. And so balance it somewhere in the middle. We need to make sure we're getting enough water, but not too quick and not ever too much. Okay, and so we can lose the most critical ones. I mean, you could flush out. I mean, you could flush out magnesium. You could flush out any electrolyte, or balance it as a result of being dehydrated. It's the sodium, potassium, and chloride which are far more likely to be potentially dangerous to you, because not having these three electrolytes in the body in the proper balance means your heart may not work. Minor issues like that, which could kill you. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why it's really important that we do this correctly. Apenis Khalil says, "Hey, brother Loren, can you talk about sodium intake? I don't eat any salt at all. Do I have to worry about it?" Well, I don't eat any salt either. I mean, well, that's probably not true. I mean, here I am in Ubud eating restaurant meals, so far one a day. And it's funny because I'd heard everyone just goes to restaurants there. It's easy to do. It's easy to do. Tomorrow I'll be at an organic farmer's market and we'll pick up some produce. But to be honest, I'm only here for another like 5-6 days, and I know there are 2 or 3 places that my friends want to take me and that I want to go to, that I want to try. So I'm not sure. I'll probably be eating durian every day, and then maybe a restaurant meal with salad, whatever else. When I'm eating gourmet raw food, I probably do eat a little bit of salt from time to time because some of these places use salt in some of their recipes. Normally, I don't use any salt at home. I don't eat salt at all. It shouldn't be problematic for you because sodium occurs naturally in leafy greens and tomatoes, and in small for you because sodium occurs naturally in leafy greens and tomatoes, and in small quantities in other fruits and leafy greens as well. And so, the body is pretty intelligent, and as long as we're not creating an issue through dehydration or overhydration, then we should be able to maintain healthy sodium levels without really having to worry about it. Okay. Have you heard about the fermented plum? Have you heard about the fermented plum Asian tradition? If yes, what's your thoughts about it? Greetings. I'm not really a huge fan of fermented foods in general. So, but you're talking about umeboshi plums, which I was introduced to 35 years ago when I dated a macrobiotic chef, because they play a significant role in macrobiota that he should be eating. I haven't eaten them in a long, long time and don't miss them, but I'm familiar with them. All right, let's see. Where were we? Raluca, hi Loren, happy you're back. Thank you. Yeah, I guess you mean back online. I missed last week because I was traveling at the time, and it was pretty difficult to do this. Hopefully, I will be able to go live again next week. I will actually will be my first day on Koh Samui with my lovely girlfriend, and but it's late at night, and hopefully she'll be in bed by now. It's 11:30 here, 11:30 p.m. and that's 11 p.m. is 9 a.m. Costa Rica time when I normally go live. So I'm doing my I'm committed to maintaining the schedule as well as possible whenever I'm able to. So I should be back next week as well. And the week after that, actually I'll still be there. and then I'll be headed back to Europe briefly after that. Is durian good in Bali? Yeah, durian is native to Southeast Asia, and so whether it's Indonesia, which is where Bali is a province in Indonesia. It's an island, one of many islands. Whether it's the Philippines, whether it's Thailand or Singapore or Malaysia or Vietnam or Borneo or I'm sure I'm forgetting half a dozen countries. Um, any of these countries are good places to find durian if you're here at the right time of year. Here in Indonesia, here in Bali, I can only speak for Bali because I've not been anywhere else in Indonesia, but the Balinese people pretty much all seem to like durian, maybe love durian, and it's a significant part of the culture here throughout Southeast Asia. So is durian a good is it good here in Indonesia and Bali? Absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's early. It's not really the height of the durian season yet. It's in the early side. And so in about a month, my understanding is there will be like durian stands along the road everywhere, everywhere. Right now we have to drive um, to find high quality durian. I mean, there are some places that have a little bit, and some places that have much more. And if we want to make sure that we're getting something really good, sometimes we have to go hunt for it right now. It gets a lot easier when it's really in season. It's early to go hunt for it right now. It gets a lot easier when it's really in season. It's early. And I mean, Jeff's been eating it since he got here 6 weeks ago. It was even earlier then. Now we're getting closer to it, and theoretically, it should be a little bit easier to find. And of course, I'm only here for a short while, and because durian is one of my favorite things on the planet, as it is with Jeff, we'll be out there looking for it pretty much every day. Yes, you're right, Ian. It's 1 hour earlier in Thailand than Bali, so I'm not sure if that's an advantage or not an advantage. It's more likely to be in the middle of my evening when I'm in Thailand. But my commitment is to continuing to go live at the same times, at 9 a.m. Costa Rica time, as much as I'm able to. God bless you for sharing your experiences and knowledge with us. Safe travels, and hope to see you around soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Cinnamon Bun Bun. That's very kind of you. I'm incredibly grateful that I'm able to share, that we have the technology to share, that I have the experience and knowledge, and I'm happy to share everything I possibly can. My goal is simply to educate and enlighten people so that they can make the same kinds of choices. I mean, anyone can be eating this way. Obviously, if you live in uh, Moscow, it's a lot harder most of the year because the food quality there. I mean, in the summertime, I'm sure they can get decent quality fruit, but most of the year, not so much. Um, there's nothing like being in the tropics, and this is why I have no intention of ever living anywhere but the tropics. Now, I mean, ever's a long time, and who knows what could happen, but my intention is to live in the tropics always. I may continue visiting. Right now, my girlfriend's in Europe, and I love her very much. And if it means I'm going to Europe a lot, then so be it. That's what I'll do until it's possible to hopefully for her to come live in the tropics in Costa Rica with me would be ideal. The other side of the world is less attractive to me, but obviously she'll make up her own mind when the time comes. But for me, there's no question that living in the tropics is really the only way, because I choose to live on fruit, and I want to be where I can have amazing, high quality, fresh fruit every day of the year. And there's no comparison. I mean, it's not, there's no comparison. Back at Tanglewood, we are harvesting fruit. Literally, we can harvest fruit every single day of the year. We're not harvesting any durian yet, and that's going to be a while before we're able to do that. But eventually, we'll be harvesting durian. Right now, we're harvesting a lot of jackfruit. We're starting to harvest champadak. We have a lot of fruits on site that are amazing. And even if I I mean, I'd love to be able to get durian on a more regular and consistent basis, at least once a month. That's not currently possible living where I live because the durian season doesn't, it's a season that only goes for a few months. And even though we have the Caribbean side and the Pacific side, which are slightly different time wise, we're still looking at probably less than 6 months of the year. It's possible to get durian at all, and there's not that much of it yet in Costa Rica. And so, we're still some ways away from being able to. I mean, it's the same here. You can't eat it all year long, not fresh, because it's not available all year long, and that's just the way it is with everything. Mangoes have a season as well. Um, it's not the end of the world. Um, a lot of us are spoiled today. I mean, I was in the U.S. for my first 14 plus years raw vegan and eating durian all the time. Eating durian, we could get durian every month because it was frozen and it was being shipped from Thailand primarily. We got it from other places as well, but it was being frozen, and so it was available any month of the year. You could eat it. Um, in the same way, a lot of people in North America and Europe are used to eating things that are not in season anywhere near where they are. And so and what that means really is that we're eating lower quality foods. And so it's wonderful to be able to eat high quality, fresh food that's in season wherever you are. That's the ideal. That's the ideal. And that's why most of the time that's all we have at Tanglewood is whatever is grown in Costa Rica and organic, that we can get our hands on. That's what we're going to have, and hard to do any better than that. Okay, it's hard to do better. Okay, let me see here. Where were we? Mia says, "Good morning, Loren. Love." Love the continued success and support. I'll be in Costa Rica again soon to water fast 21 days and refeeding 7 days next year. Fantastic. Look forward to seeing you. I know who it is, Mia. I look forward to seeing you when the time is right for you. If you haven't yet reserved your time, and I'm paying a little bit less close attention to that than I probably should be, having been traveling now for quite a while. I mean, what am I now? Friday, so 2 weeks today traveling. Last weekend, I spent several days in Germany with Sylvie, and then flew to Montenegro to speak at the Adriatic Fruit Festival, which it was the first fruit festival that Marina organized in Montenegro. It was fantastic. She did an amazing job, and it was a great event. I think there were about 35 attendees, which is really good for the first one. And was there for 4 days, and then came here basically after that. And so it's been a busy time, and I have not been. I'm behind now on responses, among other things. But if you haven't already reserved your space, you should know that we are now very close to being full for the next session that's coming up from November 5th until January 14th. We may still be able to squeeze you in for a day, for a fast. Not you, Mia, you, whoever it is that's interested in coming. We may still be able to make that happen if you get your space booked right away. The session that follows, which is again following our fruit festival from the 17th to 24th, we open on the 25th of February. We are also quickly booking up that session too. And so you are going to want, if you want to come then, you're going to want to get that space reserved as quickly as you can with your payment, because we're almost always full, and we will definitely be full for these sessions probably very, very soon. Images in Montana. Okay, images in Montana. There we go. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, I'm enjoying Bali very much. As I said, I'm not sure if you heard me say this. Having been in the Dominican Republic, which is well, it's not so clean there either, but it's quite different than a place like this, which is really quite polluted. and very urban. So, definitely worth a visit. Absolutely, you need to come visit, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it here. I'm sure you'll enjoy hanging out with Jeff as I am. I know you guys are friends as we are, but it's I'm not so sure. I mean, you're living in a pretty spectacularly beautiful place. So let's see here. Images in Montana. 2 weeks eating the optimal diet. Never felt better. Thanks for all of your great information. Looking forward to fasting in the future. Fantastic. I'll be very glad to. I've been on all for 35 days now. I feel great. Very glad to work with you whenever you are ready. Okay. Hazy Monkey says, I've been on all for 35 days now. I feel great with the energy, but I feel like I'm never going to heal my hemorrhoids and rectal prolapse. My friends and family keep pushing me to get surgery. Well, surgery should always be the very last thing you do. So the truth is that it's difficult to heal anything in the eliminative system or digestive tract, anywhere, anything between here and the exit point, the anus, is difficult to heal if you're eating, because when you're pushing food through your system, it doesn't heal so well. So we have very, very high rates of success healing these kinds of issues with fasting. The thing to do is, you're going to want to fast. It's at least a 4-week process, and you're probably better off with 6 weeks. It would depend on what else is going on for you. But I mean, 4 is really the bare minimum. That's a 21-day fast. It may sound crazy and radical to you, but it's amazing what happens. Because remember, healing is a biological process. Only the body can heal the body. And fasting is the way that we get out of our body's way so that it can heal as well as possible. Okay? So if it were me, that's what I'd be doing. I really don't know what to do anymore. You should be fasting with me. Let me guide you through the process. It's amazing. If you can't come to Costa Rica, I work with people remotely. Okay, so just before this call at 11 p.m., I had a call at 10 p.m. my time with a group of people fasting with me now in Europe. Okay, and then in the morning, I have 3 other calls with people fasting with me in the U.S., in Asia. Actually, there's 2 in the U.S. right now. So in North America, so that's it's not that expensive. There's a payment plan available, and if you can follow simple coaching, what happens for you is life changing. I guarantee you complete the process much healthier than you've been for many, many years, maybe ever. If you're coachable and open, you have to be coachable and open. If you're not coachable and open, please don't work with me. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So hello, if you're just joining, good to see you here. I appreciate you being with. You're very welcome, Hazy Monkey. If I can help you, let me know. Okay. If you're ready to heal, let me know, because it's amazing what happens for people. Guarantee you. All right. Let's see here. It tasted pretty sweet, in opposite to the salty ferments, and that's what makes it special for me. It's picked up green and unripe, ferments 30 months in its own juice. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Again, I mean, anything that's 30 months after it's been picked, honestly, it's lost a lot of value. And I know some people are very positive about eating fermented food because of the probiotic nature of it. We generally don't really need that. It's pretty hard to destroy all the bacteria in the gut. So I'm not really interested in fermented foods, as I said. In terms of the nutrients, the nutrition from the food itself, you want something that's fresh, not something that's been fermenting for 2.5 years. But I mean, if you enjoy it, that's fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't eat it. It's not something I'd really recommend as being ideal. Okay, that's basically my point. Jonathan, good to see you. Sabia, good to see you here. Judy, hello there. Good to see you. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying myself tremendously. Amir says, how to eat persimmon not to get digestive blockage. I often get nausea after eating a mono persimmon meal, despite them being almost fully ripe. Can eating lettuce with it have a redeeming effect? It's perfectly fine to eat lettuce with persimmons, but you shouldn't need to eat lettuce with something to have it digest well. If you're, I mean, the question is, you said almost fully ripe. So don't eat them unless they're fully ripe. I mean, we should always be eating fully ripe fruit, truly ripe fruit. I love persimmons, and I don't get to eat them very often because they're not tropical. We don't see them in Costa Rica, and we've tried but haven't been successful yet in growing them because, again, it's not really the right climate for them. But when I'm in a place that has persimmons, I love persimmon meals and have never had a problem with them whatsoever. The difference is I only eat them when they're actually ripe. Okay, actually ripe. So you should be waiting until they're fully ripe. There's no rush. I mean, I understand you're impatient because they're okay, actually ripe. So you should be waiting until they're fully ripe. There's no rush. I mean, I understand you're impatient because they're amazing. You want to eat them now, but you really should wait until they're fully ripe. Everyone needs a, but you really should wait until they're fully ripe. Everyone needs a break, a vacation now and then. Absolutely. I'm not really on one. I'm not really on one. I mean, in addition to doing this call, I still have 4 group calls every day and have a bunch of emails to respond to. And, I have Tanglewood and the Academy for Vibrant Living and the Las Cascadas project and various other things going on. And so I stay pretty busy, but it's quite different. I mean, when we're open, I'm at Tanglewood. I have a responsibility for a lot of people who are there on people fasting with me. And aside from that, I mean, I may be a few days behind on responding to stuff, but I got work on eventually, and it's okay. It's not quite the same level of stress intensity. So you're right. I mean, it's good to have a break, even if my break is a work day, very much so. Enjoy raw, organic, vegan coconut milk yogurt with B12, I guess, ever. I have eaten very little fermented coconut yogurt. Recipes, one of the dessert recipes, maybe it wasn't, I don't remember which one, apparently has some anxiety at the beginning of the process. If you've never gone weeks without eating, it's very simple unless they can't follow simple directions. I mean, it happens. I have a Bachelor of Science in finance and economics. Talking with Barry about questions and about the fear. So I mean, yeah, everyone has some trepidation at first, and yet what happens is mind blowing for you. What I started to say was, having studied finance, the first law of finance is that there's a risk return trade off. It's just like life. There's a risk return trade off. Okay, if you want to have an amazing life, you have to be willing to take some risks, not stupid, idiotic risks that are likely to get you killed or maimed, but risks where, okay, maybe it feels scary. Maybe you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Maybe you have, like risks like being willing to talk to someone that maybe feels scary to you. Um, just reaching out to people sometimes, whatever. I mean, in this case, it's about doing something that feels scary, but where the likelihood of you having a problem is almost tiny, is almost negligible, and the likelihood of you finishing it, feeling and functioning better than ever is so high that there's no valid reason not to do it. You just have to overcome your fear sometimes, because that's how we create an amazing, magnificent life. We overcome our fears and do what it is that we need to do. That's my recommendation. That's my formula. I mean, that's how I've had a pretty amazing life so far, and that's the reason that it's happened, because I'm willing to push through and do those things that I'm afraid of. Sometimes I do them because I'm afraid of them, because that's how I get over fear. And now there aren't too many things that can stop me, because I've learned to push past fears. And so, Barry, if you're ready to feel and function amazingly well, make it happen. You know what? Just do it anyway, even though you're afraid. Just do it anyway. I guarantee you'll be glad you did. Okay. If you're coachable and open, if you're really not open and coachable, again, then I'm not the guy you want to come to. Okay. I'm only really willing to work with people that are open and coachable. And if you want to feel and function better than you ever have, and you're open and coachable, I'll guarantee you that in writing. Okay. I'll guarantee you in writing. If you're willing to do what I ask you to do, it's amazing what happens. Stefan says, what do you think about eating cabbage? I don't actually ever think about eating cabbage. Cabbage is, I'm really clear that we are not meant to be eating cruciferous vegetables. So, I mean, every once in a while, I do eat some of these things, but generally speaking, I don't. I eat lettuce and dozens of different types of lettuce, but I eat soft, tender leafy greens. I don't recommend eating cabbage and kale and collard greens, etc., because these things are relatively difficult to digest. They have anti-nutrients that actually contain substances that are harmful to your thyroid gland. And you can actually digest them more easily. But of course, now we eat them raw, we're not getting a lot of nutrients from them. This study's really clear. The research is really clear about this. Okay, we get far more nutrients eating things that our bodies can easily digest, which is why I've always said the same thing: eat soft, tender leaves and whole, fresh, juicy fruits. Those are the things that belong in our bodies, nothing else. So I don't think about eating cabbage. I don't have any interest in cabbage. I don't think you should eat cabbage. Your name, makes me think maybe you are Russian or from that part of the world. I know that there, in certain in the winter time, there's not much available fresh, and you can grow cabbage over much of the winter, but it's not really something we're meant to be eating. Okay, not such a good thing. I'm looking forward to my upcoming fast at Tanglewood. This is John, and you lead me through it. Your videos and appreciate all the advice you give. Thank you. You are very, very welcome. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Mountainwood Camp says, hi, Loren. Glad to see you're doing well and enjoying traveling. Jen from Mountainwood Yoga. Anyway, Jen, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well as well. I'm enjoying persimmon season as usual, one of my favorite fruits. Yeah, persimmons are amazing. And as I said earlier, folks, if you're eating ripe persimmons, you shouldn't have any trouble digesting them. Okay. They digest easily. Bakul Data says, do you do anything special to survive the toxic environment onslaught when traveling? No. What I do is I sip water and I keep my diet super clean. So I usually bring a bag of fruit with me on the flights. That's what I did this time. And sometimes I'm not eating very much. I might be fasting more than I'm eating. And that allows my body to detoxify in real time pretty efficiently. Okay, so I'm noticing, folks, that I've got just about a minute here because I've actually have one more call this evening. I think I do. I promised someone that I would speak to her now if she's available now. It's sometimes hard to get hold of people. After the call, I will have to research what Durian is. I live in Ranch 99 or 99 Ranch. I forget what it's called. It's the big Asian chain of big Asian markets in California, and they sell frozen durian. You can buy whole ones. You can buy little boxes. There's a frozen in their frozen fruit section. You will find a whole bunch of different durian packaging, packaged durians. It's worth checking out. Durian amazing. Okay. And there's my midnight call. So I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. Ruslan, hey man, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. I guess I am here with Jeff. Did you ever make it to the Durian Festival? You were going to? We talked about that when you were with me, and I couldn't do it because it started the same time as the event where I spoke last weekend for 4 days. What's your opinion on the harm? Fortunately, you can't really open coconut and get water out without oxidation, without losing a lot of value. So I wouldn't really do that. Okay, I went to live in the tropics. Isn't it possible seeds could be ingested, make it less optimal? The body. While there are biohackers who point out all the wonderful benefits of coffee, there's no reason to be consuming things at all. So, folks, I've got to go back the Western Hemisphere. and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. I'll be back live, same. I will. Almost everyone here speaks English, but gotta go, folks. A like on Instagram. All right, gotta go. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.